How do you expect a person when he first gets into a campus to react to all these issues?
The most matured way, the most sane way is to just keep quiet and understand people. It is not that you start speaking and pouring out all your emotions and thoughts before everyone. So you need to understand what type of a person he is. Certain people who are red, certain people who are yellow, and certain people who are blue.
How does a person recognize his anxiety and how will he cope up with the anxiety?
So fear or anger or sadness are quite natural emotions. But when we use them wrongly, it is called as unwarranted anger, unwarranted fear, unwarranted sadness.
Hello everyone, welcome to Musetalks. Today we have with us a prominent speaker, Janab S. Hamidul Hassan Saab, who hails from Vaniyambadi, Tamil Nadu. Janab S. Hamidul Hassan Saab has studied BE in Civil Engineering from Bangalore University and MSc in Psychology from Madras University. Janab S. Hamidul Hassan Saab was a member of SIO and a national president of SIO and is currently the vice president of Jamaat-e-Islami Hind.
Okay. तो साहब मैं एक इंजीनियरिंग स्टूडेंट हूँ. नॉर्मली हमारा कॉलेज में ऐसा होता है कि व्हाट वी सी इज व्हेन अ स्टूडेंट gets into a campus, he meets different type of people, and that people might be having different type of issues. Even their connectivity with the world might be different. How do you expect a person when he first gets into a campus to react to all these issues? That is, when he meets different type of people, that is, introvert people, an extrovert person, and a strong
Likes and dislikes, strong likes and
strong
dislikes.
likes and dislikes, and a straightforward person who gives out the one who bursts out completely. How do you expect a person to behave to all these persons?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It's a very interesting subject to understand the nature and temperament of people. God has created everyone uniquely. No two persons are alike. A person who enters into a new place, maybe a college, maybe a job environment, maybe some hostel, maybe he's traveling the train. So, whenever a person happens to be around some people, the most matured way, the most sane way is to just keep quiet and understand people. It is not that you start speaking and pouring out all your emotions and thoughts before everyone. So you need to understand what type of a person he is. This is not the right place to explain in detail about the four temperaments of human beings, which has generally been classified as certain people who are red, certain people who are yellow, certain people who are green, and certain people who are blue. When we say red, they are the people who are extrovert people, who go for dominance, who are task oriented people. They care less about relationship. So a person, when he understands that he is a red person, then we will be more interested to speak with him about the tasks. He is not a person who is interested in maintaining relationship, building a relationship, laughing and witting. He is not a person. Contrary to that, the yellow person, he is a person who is also extrovert, but is more inclined towards relationship building. If someone is not doing the job properly, even then he'll be complacent, he'll be sober, he will be patient because he cares for relationship. So these two people, one is dominant, the yellow person is inspiring people, he inspires people, he motivates people. So you need to understand what type of a person he is. If he is more interested towards work, you will speak about works. If this person is more interested towards building relationship, you speak on those subjects. The green person, he will be a quiet person. He doesn't like to mingle with people. He is an introvert person. He cares less for details. He is an amicable person who can make adjustment with everyone around. And the last is the blue one. He is a person who is also introvert, but he is task oriented. The difference between red and blue is that red person he wants to go
Burst
all
out.
about. The speed is the result. Yellow, rather blue person is a very sober person. He will not step into any job, any work unless until he is clear about the details. He will work out meticulously every detail. As a student, you can find his bag, his personality very meticulous. Everything will be there in his bag. You ask for anything. You ask for a blade. You ask for a pen. You ask for three different colors of pen. You ask for some biscuit. You ask for a bottle of water. So he will have everything in his bag. The red person, he is a person who is in a hurry. He will come to college and he'll keep begging, you give me the pen, you give me the comb, you give me the paper. So once you understand what type of a person he is, it becomes easier to gel and to move with people and deal accordingly.
And the blue student will be having a constant graph,
Yes.
and the red student will be having a graph that is.
No, not that way. See, nothing is good, nothing is bad. These are the temperaments God has created. So we can't say that this person is good, this person is bad. All are equally
So it is
good.
normal to.
It is normal to be like that. Only thing is that you need to know what type of a person he is. When he is a blue, don't speak to him without preparation. Don't talk on any subject without having gone into the details of the subject. People who just read the headlines and start speaking on the subject. So this blue person will think what type of an idiot he is. He doesn't know the details, he doesn't have the idea, he doesn't have the data, and he's speaking on this subject. I have, prepared a lot. Last night I was reading about this. This person has not read that. So you need to know what type of person he is.
So I have two perspectives on this matter. As I am an engineering student, I have two graphs in my mind. One is a graph of brittle material and one is a graph of ductile material. In the context of this ductile material, when a load is applied to this material, what happens is there are many points of load or extraction, but I'll take 2 points. One is elastic point and one is plastic point. Elastic point, what happens is after certain point it gets back to its original position. What happens in plastic point is after certain point, after the load at certain point, this does not get back to its original position. Rather, it deforms. It deforms according to the situation, according to the load it gives. After certain point, at the breaking point, it breaks out its emotions. It completely breaks. That is about ductile materials. And about brittle materials, what happens is the load is applied and there is only one point. It breaks down. So my question is, there are two types of person in the society. One who can adjust to the environment and one who cannot. And if he is adjusting to the environment, there is certain point that he can express his emotions, he can express his ideas. But there are people who will test him. And what after that yield point where he deforms according to the situation, according to the environment which he is living in.
First, let me tell you that we can't compare human being with the materials. He is altogether a different thing in the universe. God has created him uniquely. So whatever the objects we see, so these principles can be applied. I being a civil engineer, I know when we design the beam for the load.
Load.
Yes, and we design it about knowing that the elasticity and plasticity and the stress and the strain. So keeping all those factors, we design the beam. For you to understand, because you want to understand in that frame.
Yes.
I have a different perspective of understanding human being, but if you want to understand within that framework, then I can tell you what is stress. For doing everyday normal routine work, we always face stress. It's quite common. When you want to go out to the college, you have certain stress of getting up earlier, preparing for the subject, dressing up and going out. When you stand in the bus stand, you have a stress because all the buses which are coming are fully loaded.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of a struggle to find out your way inside the bus.
Totally practical.
Yes. When you get down in the college and go to the classroom, there are certain stressors because the teacher who is going to come, he is not in good terms with you. Sometimes, he makes a point that you feel down. He yells at you. he shames you, maybe something like that. That's a stressor. So throughout life, every person doing normal work faces stress. That is the load which comes onto your mind. And the coping skills, it comes automatically and it comes through parenting. So coping skill means you cope up with that pressure. It becomes normal for you to get up a little earlier and prepare, to go out to the college. It becomes a normal thing for you to adjust into the bus. It becomes a normal, routine for you to adjust with those people who sometimes do not love you. So this is called as coping skill. As long as you have the coping skill, the stress and the coping skill, they negate each other. You become a normal person when you come back home and sleep very comfortably. The people who are very sensitive, they get this stress. Getting up earlier, preparing for everything, that is a stressful event for them. Even after they come back to the home, they keep remembering the morning events. And getting into the bus is a stressful event for them. And even after coming to the college and after coming back home, they feel the stress of getting into the buses. Yeah. And dealing with some person who is not aligned with your thoughts, that is also a stressful event. When they come back, they have all these stresses. They keep thinking and thinking and thinking, and that's take them towards mental disorder or mental illness or stress or anxiety or depression. So that means the load is still there and the mind has not come back to its original form.
Okay. Now that we have come to disorders, now that I've researched last night, I've got different types of disorders. That is behavioral disorders and anxiety disorders, even eating disorders, and that will lead to somewhat called societal and self-harm. What is your perspective on behavioral disorders and that too ADHD, that attention what we are getting? What I have perspective is, for example, if I'm using my phone, even if I'm watching this podcast, I'll be watching it for only for 3 seconds, not more than that. Even if it is interesting, I'll be thinking that what type of content it has, and if it is not interesting, I'll just swipe. What is your concern on behavioral disorders?
So it's a purely psychological subject. Is not maybe of interest for everyone to go into the details of what is normal behavior and what is called as abnormal behavior. And the abnormal behaviors categorization also keeps changing over a period of time. And once upon a time, homosexuality was considered to be an abnormal activity.
Yes.
And now the psychologists feel that it's something normal.
It is something.
So these type of classifications in psychology of what is normal and what is abnormal keep changing. Let us focus on your subject of ADHD. ADHD is also purely a psychological problem and is not that common. So anybody who is not having attention cannot be called as ADHD. ADHD is a medical problem, is an issue, yeah. But the problem with the younger generation who are too deeply involved and indulging into the gadgets, so they develop a pattern in their mind that they need gratification, they need happiness and quick happiness, and they want that chemical flow.
And that algorithm is set.
Yes. So they keep changing. When they go through the reels, so for 1 minute they'll see the cricket match, the next they'll see a jungle event, the next they'll go for a song. So as you keep scrolling up and down, so your mind, you are giving a message and signal to your mind, I am done with this.
Yeah.
That's enough for me. 1 minute stuff or half a minute stuff, I'm happy with that. So your chemicals, flow and satisfaction decreases. So you want more chemicals to be happy, then you go for another reel, then you go for another reel. This has a very drastic and very great negative impact on the minds of younger generation, is that they can't focus on anything more than 1 minute and 2 minutes, even for studies. Even listening. Listening is a very, very important ability for a person to be a good communicator. So they can't listen for more than half a minute or 1 minute or 2 minutes.
Yes.
And for you to be a great person, for you to be a great judge, for you to be a NASA scientist, for you to be a great scholar, you need to focus on things for hours and hours.
Yes.
So those who indulge too much into these gadgets, they lose that golden opportunity to develop the habits of focusing on subject.
And these problems are known to the world. I mean, sir, it's not something that is new. What might be the solutions for all these issues?
Okay, right away you are coming to this solution part. I'm happy. Discussion is coming to a conclusion.
I have
Yes. See, one thing is that it is still not yet known to the world about the whole spectrum of this problem. It is yet to be discovered, or only the specialists know about it. It is not known to the common man about all the negative impact of these gadgets and all these things. Anyway, but people are suffering. Those who suffer, there are two categories of people. Those who have insight and they feel that they have this problem. They are getting irritated. They have anger problem. They have a stress problem. They have anxiety. They have depression. There are certain people who recognize that they have a problem. And unfortunately, the second category is that which they don't even have an insight that they have a problem.
Yeah, probably.
They deny of having any problem. I'm a quite normal being. I may be looking to you like that, but I'm very happy what I am. Let me be what I am. So these are two categories of people. But the first category of person who has an understanding that he has a problem, then he has a solution as well. But the person who does not recognize, the solution is a far object. It is an object which is very far, and solution is not possible very quickly for those who do not recognize that they have a problem. They will continue to be under the problem because they don't understand.
At some point, they'll recognize their problem.
We don't know at what point of time they'll recognize.
Okay.
When they start feeling happy to be within that cocoon, within that bubble, they will lead a life of that style.
We have heard multiple. This is a period where people say, "Get out of your comfort zones." And what does that exactly mean? Get out of your comfort
That's a
zone.
different issue. See, coming out of the comfort zone is that we are basically motivating people to take challenges,
Okay.
to work in an environment where you are not feeling comfortable. So deal with different people, deal with different things, and that will make you robust,
Okay.
and that will make you more competent. So that is a sort of giving motivation to the people to come out of their comfort.
And that will nothing have on the two persons which you have told. One who recognizes his problem and one who doesn't recognize it. So coming back to our disorders, sir, the last 2 points. What does exactly an anxiety disorder mean? See, how does a person recognize his anxiety, and how will he cope up with the anxiety?
Fear is an emotion, and whatever the emotions God has given, it is useful for humanity. It is useful for survival.
Yes.
When you don't have a fear, then you may have the chances of getting hurt.
Yes.
You are passing through a jungle, you must have the fear. Then you will have a torch with you so that you can recognize, so a snake or anything which can cause you harm. So fear or anger or sadness are quite natural emotions. But when we use them wrongly, it is called as unwarranted anger, unwarranted fear, unwarranted sadness. So a person who is in anxiety is actually overpowered by unwarranted fear, which does not exist. Unknown fear.
External.
External, unknown, no, not external. He feels that there is something threatening to me,
Okay.
something which is fearful for me. If he gets a normal call, he may be having in mind that my mom has died.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be getting the call about my mom's death.
Uh,
Or before appearing for the examination, this person, he starts visualizing the future and he fears that I'm going to fail surely. And if I fail, I'm going to get a beating at my home,
Yeah.
and I'm going to sit at my home. I'm not going to get a job. I'm doomed. I'm failed. So before appearing for the examination, he has all these fears, which is unwarranted.
He
fear.
visualizes things.
Yeah. He has his own idea of things which is not normal. That's why we say being anxious is abnormal. Little bit of fear is always helpful.
Okay,
Without fear, you can't go for examination. You must have a little bit of fear, which increases your competence, which increases your efficiency. If I am a speaker and if I come prepared before the public, I should have a little bit of fear, then only I can be a better speaker. So that is warranted. But unwarranted means, exaggerating and, understanding something which is out of proportion is
bursting out.
Yeah.
Now coming back to the things, sir, all these disorders will come at some certain point. The coming back to materials, what I've told, materials, there is a point that material breaks. So might that be suicidal and self-harm?
Suicide, yes, it's a breaking a point. When we were engineers, we used to conduct that tensile strength test on steel material.
Steel material.
So you keep on loading and loading and loading. At one point of time, it breaks, because steel does not have that
strength to weight ratio.
Strength to resist that load. But mind is not like iron. Mind has got the capacity to bear that load. It can elongate, it can come back to its original position. And sleep is the beautiful way of getting you back to normalcy. So the youth problem is that they don't have the night sleep, wherein you recover all your energy. So mind is different than steel or any other material. So when mind gets loaded, automatically God has created such a mechanism that you, in the night when you go for sleep, you come back to your original position.
There is a ayah in Quran that is about those men in the cave, and those men had something in their because those men, even they were teenagers, how could they resist all those external forces, external mediums that would break a person? Even they were teenagers, even they were human beings. How could they?
Fantastic, very good question. It's basically the Iman which gives you the strength. The person who believes in God and who works for the good cause of humanity, then he always believes that, yes, I am doing something good and beneficial for humanity. So he builds up the capacity to resist the negative impact of people rejecting them. Okay, because he is working for the cause of humanity, he is working for the cause of God. So always there is something backing him that I am a successful person, whether people listen to me, whether people agree with me or disagree with me, but I am speaking the word of God to them. It's up to them to understand I am always successful at any point of time. So I am not going to lose my hope because God is with me. So that Iman gives you the strength to face all the challenges.
Yes. So we will conclude this whole podcast, Minsab.
Yeah.
Exactly. Even I am a student. Even I am a teenager. Even I am in my 20s. So what exactly you expect a youth to do in these present scenarios? There is pressure on every side. There is political pressure. There is a pressure in home also. There is pressure with his job. How would you expect a youth to face all these scenarios?
Number one is that every person should understand who he is, what are the capabilities he has, what are his limits, and he must plainly stand up and say that even to parents and teachers, you want me to become this, my inclination is towards that field. I want to be that, I want to be what I want to be. I want to be a great writer. You want me to be a doctor. So the pressure from the home makes you sick to become doctor and doctor and doctor.
Yes.
So the first thing is that every person should recognize his inner capabilities and strength.
Yes.
Number two is have multiple activities. The problem with the youth is that either they are in the college or they are in their phones. They don't have multiple activities. Going for prayer, working at home with mom, doing some homework, playing something,
Yes.
and getting interested in poetry and literary activities, going out playing cricket and football or something, doing physical activities, mingling up with people. So you keep doing routine and different type of activities that keeps your mind healthy.
Healthy.
So this is the problem where the youth are suffering because they have stopped doing all these activities and they are just into two boxes, either in their job or
Job.
school and college. Then the next thing is their virtual world. So they are not there in the actual world.
The youths watching this podcast, the one thing is sure, the one message is sure. No matter where we go, no matter who pressurizes us, what we need to understand is we need to see ourselves first. Yes, I mean, sir, we need to see our selves first. Then we have to get in touch with the whatever get in the flow. Get in the flow. Thank you everyone for watching this podcast. You're with Muse Talks.